not gonna talk. You're gonna go do your thing.
What are you doing? Now, ask him on the intercom.
You jumped on me.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're featuring some epic moments when Karens face their karma and justice is served in the most satisfying ways. Get ready for a dose of instant payback. Today, in this first case, we're diving into a troubling and eye-opening story that recently unfolded in Denver, Colorado. A video shared on Twitter has captured a tense confrontation between two dog owners, and it has sparked a significant discussion about race, privacy, and the role of bystanders in these situations. The video, recorded on 7th July 2022 in Florida, shows a disturbing interaction between a black man walking his dog and a white woman who has been referred to by some as a Karen in the context of this incident. As the video begins, we see the woman following the man down an empty street, her demeanor aggressive and antagonistic. The man, maintaining his composure, tries to ignore the woman's persistent harassment. He calmly says, "Have a nice day," attempting to defuse the situation. But the woman's response is anything but pleasant. "Get out of here," she snaps back. In the background, a young woman named Beth, who was recording the incident, interjects with a plea. "Let him walk." Her voice carries a sense of urgency as she continues to film, capturing the unfolding drama. It's clear that Beth is disturbed by the woman's behavior and wants to ensure that the man's rights are respected. The tension escalates when the woman realizes she's being recorded. Her demeanor shifts from aggressive to defensive. "Oh, you're having a problem with this," she challenges Beth, who responds firmly, "Yeah, just let this guy walk on the street." Beth emphasizes that the man is not causing any trouble, asserting that he has every right to be there. The woman's response is dismissive and confrontational. She says, "See me," to Beth, who quickly replies, "I don't want to come here," before turning around and leaving. This brief exchange underscores the discomfort and conflict that can arise when individuals are confronted about their behavior, especially in sensitive situations. The video captures a moment where the woman's actions seem to be driven by suspicion rather than any concrete evidence. As she follows the black man through the street, the power dynamics are apparent. The man remains composed despite the undue attention and antagonism, while Beth's decision to record the incident reflects a broader concern about racial harassment. She emphasized the importance of having evidence to back up claims of racial harassment, highlighting the current movement to shed light on these issues and hold individuals accountable. In Florida statute, section 784.048 focuses on threatening and harassing conduct, which is the act of continuously following or harassing a victim, causing anxiety, distress, or fear. This conduct may include repeatedly following, calling, texting, or approaching the victim without their permission. Harassment or stalking that causes anxiety or fear to the victim can be prosecuted. This includes bothering, continuously following, or engaging in conduct that makes the victim feel threatened or unsafe. Following and repeatedly accusing a black man falls under the scope of this section. If the threatening or harassing conduct is not accompanied by aggravating factors, it can be considered a Class 1 misdemeanor, which carries a maximum penalty of 1 year in jail and or a fine. All right, this case was wild, but still not the worst one. Just wait until you see this next one. And on September 5th, 2023, a repairman was called to fix a leaking radiator in an elderly woman's apartment in California. What seemed like a simple task quickly turned into a nightmare for the worker involved. Upon arriving at the apartment, the repairman began his work with the expectation of completing the task and moving on to his next appointment. Little did he know that this routine job would turn into an extraordinary and traumatic ordeal. In the opening moments of the video, the repairman's demeanor is polite and professional. He attempts to communicate with the elderly woman, whom we will call Karen. His request is simple: he needs to leave the apartment. However, Karen's response is anything but normal. She stands in front of the door, blocking his exit.
Just let me out of your flat. I don't know what you're doing. This is absolutely ludicrous.
Yes, it is.
Look, I've just told you this radiator's not going to be working.
Yes, it is.
Look, I've just told you this radiator's not going to be working. I've got all of the other ones working.
All of the other ones?
In your flat, yeah. They are all working, are they not?
Yeah, what about the other flats?
Look, I do not want to be in your flat anymore. Please let me out. What are you doing?
I am just trying.
This seemingly small act of obstruction sets the stage for an escalating conflict. The worker's attempts to reason with Karen become increasingly tense as she continues to block his path. His polite requests to leave are denied, highlighting the early signs of the tension that is about to engulf the situation. As the interaction progresses, the worker's frustration becomes apparent. He repeatedly asks Karen to let him go, insisting that he has completed his task and just wants to leave. However, Karen's response is both confusing and provocative, She continues to block the door, creating a standoff that seems both surreal and infuriating.
I am just trying to
Just
understand.
move out my way. You're moving absolutely crazy. Just
I am not crazy.
You clearly are crazy because you're not letting me out the
You
flat.
mustn't speak to me like that.
Just move
I'm
out.
sorry, would you apologise for
move out,
telling me and stand back.
Stand back. Look, I'm in your flat. What are you doing? What's going on?
Stop shouting at
Huh?
me.
At this point, the situation begins to change dramatically. The repairman's calm and rational approach contrasts sharply with Karen's increasingly irrational behavior. His frustration becomes apparent as he attempts to understand her actions. His assertion that she is acting irrationally highlights the growing dissonance between their perceptions of the situation.
You're pushing an elderly lady around. How dare you put your hands on me? Oh, dreadful thing you're doing. Now, ask him on the intercom what is going on. Which is what I asked you in the first place.
The story takes an unexpected turn when Karen challenges the worker's sanity. In a classic deflection move, she counters his claim by asserting that he is the one who is acting irrationally. This fault reversal is a psychological move designed to shift the focus away from her own behavior and onto the worker's perceived wrongdoing. The worker's response is straightforward and direct. He points out that Karen's actions are truly out of character for her, which further irritates him. In this direct confrontation marks a pivotal point in the encounter, illustrating how misunderstandings and emotional reactions can quickly escalate into a more complex and heated conflict. In an attempt to resolve the situation, the repairman decides to take action by attempting to unlock the door. This moment is important because it represents his attempt to regain control of the situation. However, Karen's response is swift and forceful. She pushed the door open and began screaming, accusing the repairman of causing her physical harm. The act of recording not only served as a protective measure for the worker, but also as a means of accountability in a situation where awareness and emotion were running high. In order to escape the apartment, the worker had to pretend to comply with Karen's wishes, and when Karen let her guard down, the worker immediately left the apartment despite Karen's insults. According to California Penal Code Section 236, false imprisonment is defined as the unlawful confinement of a person without their consent. This can occur when a person is prevented from leaving an area or is detained without consent or without a lawful reason. Karen's actions in restraining and preventing the worker from leaving the door violated this law. If false imprisonment is prosecuted as a civil violation, the penalty can be up to 1 year in jail or a fine of up to $1,000. Nowadays, many people need dogs, service dogs. So many policies have been put in place to support both the owner and their companion, but that did not apply to this Karen when she kicked service dog owner. But on March 24th, 2024, a video recording of our story begins in a crowded subway car during rush hour in Florida. Commuters are crammed into every available seat, their faces a mix of fatigue and frustration. Amidst this sea of irritated passengers, a commotion begins to take place. At the center of this commotion is our protagonist, a woman we will call Karen for the sake of our story. Karen, clearly agitated, stands in a loud confrontational manner. Her target, a dog Doppel and calm beside its owner, becomes the focus of Karen's rage. As the dog sits silently, seemingly oblivious to the approaching storm, Karen's frustration begins to boil over. Karen's initial complaints are directed at the dog's owner. Her voice, raised, was filled with a sense of entitlement and urgency. She accused the dog of jumping on her, and "I'm allergic to dogs," Karen shouted, her words cutting through the ambient noise of the subway. The other passengers, taken aback, exchanged confused glances. The dog, however, remained unfazed by the commotion it had caused.
My dog is trained.
Well, obviously he not, because he just jumped on me.
I'm saying.
You're allergic to dogs, and your dog just jumped on me.
You're so overreacting.
No,
The dog's owner, taken aback by the sudden confrontation, tried to calmly explain that the animal was docile and under control. Karen's frustration only grew, though. As Karen's demands became more frantic, she began addressing the entire subway car.
with these fucking dogs on the train. Y'all do too much. No, not. And if you recorded me, I hope you not record me because I'm not talking to you no more.
Oh, but your problem was with me, right?
Oh, but I just told him if he recorded me. So shut the fuck up.
Her complaints shifted from the dog to the people around her, accusing them of being inconsiderate and rude. "If you're recording me, I hope you're not," Karen barked at a passenger holding a smartphone. "Stop recording me. I'm not talking to you anymore." Her anger was palpable, her face red with rage.
That dog just came on me.
Alright,
That's
I
no
apologize.
such thing as
It is. I
stop
apologize.
recording me.
And has my
Your
dog done
guy
anything
just told
to
you
you
to
since
stop
then?
recording me.
The situation became chaotic as Karen's yelling grew louder. She moved from one end of the train to the other, demanding attention to her predicament. The tension in the subway car was almost palpable as passengers tried to ignore the escalating situation. Karen's frustration reached its peak as she began to threaten to call the police. A sympathetic passenger tried to offer a solution, suggesting that Karen could change seats to avoid dog. Karen's response, however, was not cooperative. "No, that's ridiculous." And she retorted, refusing to accept any solution that didn't involve removing the dog from the subway immediately and completely. The argument dragged on with no clear solution in sight. In Florida Penal Code, Section 877.03 public nuisance, including disorderly conduct, making noise, or engaging in inappropriate conduct in public spaces. Karen's cursing and yelling on the subway violated the scope of this section. Public nuisance on the subway can be prosecuted as a civil infraction. Florida Penal Code Section 877.03 public nuisance is punishable by up to 1 year in jail and/or a fine of up to $1,000. All right, fellas, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and educational contents in the future. Thanks for your sub.